We're so thrilled to have Andrew and Jessica here. Big round of applause for them. Jessica, over the course of his entire hospital stay, he had about 6 to 7 PICU admissions and probably stayed in 12 different PICU rooms. In the background, just so you know, there are photos of your ICU hospital stay in the background to kind of give you more perspective about Andrew's stay.
So I was a freshman in college, majoring in biochem, considering to become a veterinarian.
Okay.
So I was interested in like the medical field. And then I was working at Jersey Mike's sub shop.
So tell us about when you first found out you had cancer.
My stomach started swelling, and I didn't really think much of it, but as it got bigger and bigger, I went to urgent care, and they just said I was constipated, so they sent me home with laxatives. And then those didn't, I mean, they worked, but they didn't solve the real issues.
During round, you got multiple opinions, and everybody was very open with their thoughts, even if the medical team didn't agree. So it was helpful for me to hear all the different perspectives, and then I remember the first time we were in the PICU, one of the nurses in particular stepped in and said, I think his line should go in his neck instead of the groin. That ended up making a huge difference in his mobility. We wouldn't have known to advocate for that. And so having the opportunity to have, I think there were probably 12 or so different people there commenting on it and advocating different opinions in his best interest was extremely helpful.
I didn't really know what was going on, and I don't know, that kind of made me feel like I was going out of my mind and just going crazy.
I remember he just made a couple very small comments, and there were other people around, but I knew he wouldn't have answered the questions that way in his normal state. And one in particular, he made a comment that alluded to Obama being the president. This was last year, and I knew he knew that wasn't the case. And when I called in the doctors and they did the questions that they go through, he got it right. So he was able to refocus and answer all those questions right. So none of the medical team recognized that he was behaving a little differently. But within probably 30 minutes of me recognizing something was a little bit off, everything started shutting down. So his eyes rolled back in his head, he was convulsing, he couldn't communicate, and that was our first code call, and what landed us in our longest PICU stay.
And so you were probably the only person or another family member who would have been able to tell that he was delirious.
Probably. Yeah.
It was kind of like all the other voices were mumbled. Like if you are underwater and you hear voices above you, it's kind of was like that, but I could hear her voice.
Your mom's voice was really clear.
Well, you can't talk, and I hated not being able to drink something because you feel dehydrated, but you're hydrated, but you don't feel hydrated because you're not drinking. It's weird, and I think that was the worst, other than not being able to communicate at all. Listening on rounds, learning what was going on, and just being involved. And when the doctors and nurses related to me at my age level,
Sure.
and just communicated in a way that an 18-year-old would be communicated to, I don't know, instead of like a toddler. It was a frustrating journey, I would say. you take moving and walking for granted, I think, just every day. And then when you lose the ability to do that after you already have it, it's very frustrating because you're like, I should be able to do this, but I can't do it. And that was a big struggle for me. So I had to work on my patience and just some deep breathing and also just pushing myself, and it helped when people pushed me. And I think it would have helped if goals were set, today we're going to do this so that you can do this tomorrow, or you can do this in the future and stuff like that, so I would know why I'm doing all this work. And I mean, obviously it's to walk again, but at the time you're just like, you want to give up after you've been through all that, and it's hard. Yeah. So,
And what you told me is that you didn't feel like it was your body,
right. Yeah.
and that's a lot to overcome from the get-go.
College, and I'm going to pursue nursing now. And and
Why are you going to pursue nursing?
I just feel like I can empathize with the patients more now, and I also know, like, I feel like I know how to work the machines.